If you are thinking about picking one up, I just want to walk you through my experience using it every day for about 3 months. I have it right here in front of me, and the way I would sum it up is simple. It is a straightforward countertop microwave that feels solid, heats fast when the food is simple, and does an unusually good job defrosting. It also has a couple features that make daily use calmer, like the mute option, and a sensor mode that can help sometimes but is not something I trust for every meal. This microwave makes the most sense if you reheat real dinner plates, heat up bowls of leftovers, cook quick stuff like oatmeal, or defrost meat for weeknight cooking. The capacity is one of the reasons I went with it. It is 1.2 cubic feet, and that extra room matters in real life. A full-size dinner plate fits without you having to angle it or worry about it scraping the sides. The turntable is 12.4 inches, and I have been able to fit a 12-inch pizza on it. Not every countertop microwave can do that without feeling cramped. The trade-off is that it takes up real counter space. It is about 20.6 inches wide, about 16 inches deep, and about 11.8 inches tall, and it weighs about 34.6 pounds. Once you set it down, it is not something you casually move around every day. In my kitchen, it sits in that full-size countertop category. If your counter is small, I would measure and make sure you are not blocking a cabinet door or squeezing it into a corner where it cannot vent properly. In terms of how it looks and feels, it is not flashy. It is a black unit with a simple front panel, a big window, and a handle you pull to open the door. I strongly prefer the handle. With push-button door releases, I often end up sliding the whole microwave forward when I open it. With this one, I can just grab and pull and it stays put. The door closes with a solid thump instead of a cheap rattle. The handle feels sturdy and grippy, and after daily use it has not loosened or started squeaking. Setup is basically plug it in, set the clock, and you are ready. I always plug microwaves directly into a wall outlet instead of a power strip, and I leave a couple inches of clearance around the sides and back because the heat and exhaust do build up during longer runs. That has been especially true when I am heating a bigger casserole dish or running multiple cycles back to back. Daily use is where I think this microwave does well. The display is big and easy to read across the kitchen. The one-touch start buttons are actually useful. If I want 1 minute, I press 1 and it starts. If I want a little more time, I tap start and it adds 30 seconds. That sounds basic, but it is the kind of thing that makes you use the microwave more smoothly without thinking about it. I also use the kitchen timer on it pretty often, and it is loud enough to hear from another room when the sound is on. When I do not want any beeping, the mute mode is there. On this model, you hold the 8 key for a few seconds and the beeps turn off. I keep it muted most of the time, then turn sound back on if I am waiting on something and I do not want to forget it. If you live with other people or you have kids sleeping, that mute option is more helpful than it sounds. There is also an eco mode that dims the display and cuts down on standby power. I do not obsess over the savings, but I like that the kitchen is not lit up by a bright clock at night. It is a small comfort thing. Now let me talk about the heating performance in a way that matches real use. This is a 1000-watt microwave, and it heats quickly. Liquids and simple foods are where it is most predictable. A mug of water gets hot fast. Soup heats evenly if I stop once to stir. Oatmeal comes out well if I use a lower power setting and give it a quick stir near the end. Frozen single-portion meals are fine, and I do not feel like I am waiting around. Mixed leftovers are where you still have to use common sense, and that is not unique to this model. This is a traditional microwave, not an inverter type. That means when you choose a lower power level, it is not delivering a steady lower heat. It is cycling full power on and off. In real terms, that is why you can get edges that are hot and a center that is still cool, especially on dense foods like rice, pasta, or a thick piece of meat on a plate. My workaround is simple. I spread food out instead of piling it up. I use a medium power level and I stir or rotate halfway through. When I do that, the results are solid and consistent. When I do not do that, it behaves like most microwaves in this category, where the outside heats faster than the inside. Defrosting has been the standout for me. I use defrost more than I thought I would, and this one has handled it better than the older microwave I replaced. I have used the 1-pound auto defrost for ground beef, and I have used the weight-based defrost for chicken breasts. It regularly prompts me to flip or separate pieces at the right time, and I end up with meat that is thawed without the edges turning gray and cooked. That is the frustrating part of bad defrosting, and this model avoids it most of the time. If you cook from frozen a lot, or you forget to thaw meat in the fridge, this is where I think this microwave earns its spot on the counter. The sensor features are a mixed bag. The idea is that it senses steam and tries to guess doneness. On things like potatoes or some vegetables, it can be convenient. Where I do not trust it is sensor reheat on a mixed plate with different textures. If there is something thin, something saucy, and something dense on the same plate, the sensor can run long and overheat the thinner parts while the dense part still needs more time. So for my own routine, I usually reheat manually. I start with a conservative time, I use a medium power level, and I check it. That has been more reliable for me than hoping the sensor makes the right call. A quick note here because it matters. There is no mobile app with this microwave. Everything is done on the unit itself. Personally, I am fine with that because I am standing in the kitchen when I use a microwave anyway. I would rather have clear buttons and predictable behavior than an app I never open. Cleaning has been easy. The interior wipes down without much effort, and splatters do not seem to bake on quickly. The turntable comes out easily and I wash it in the sink. The control panel is a flat touch surface, so it wipes clean with a damp cloth. After 3 months of daily use, it still looks presentable without me having to baby it. Noise is typical. You hear the hum in the fan, but it is not a harsh sound. The fan tone stays steady. The interior light is bright enough that I can see if something is boiling over. The turntable rotation on mine has been smooth, and I have not had any annoying wobble. A few real-life notes. Popcorn is decent, but I still do not blindly trust presets. I pick the right bag setting, and I listen for when the popping slows down, because that last stretch is where popcorn goes from fine to burnt fast. The soften and melt options are gentle enough for butter and chocolate, but I still check halfway through because chocolate can hold its shape and then suddenly go too far. Fit-wise, tall mugs and bowls clear the interior height fine. Bigger casserole dishes fit, but you need to center them carefully so they do not bump the sides as the turntable spins. That is not a flaw so much as physics. If the dish is wide and off-center, it is going to hit. Reliability so far has been boring in a good way. No weird smells, no random resets, no door latch issues. It has just worked. I cannot speak for years of ownership yet, but day to day it has been stable. So my overall impression, after using it constantly, is that it is an easy microwave to live with if you want something roomy that heats fast, defrosts well, and has controls that do not fight you. The limitations are also pretty normal. You still need to stir and manage time when you are reheating mixed plates, because lower power levels are achieved by cycling, and the sensor reheat is not something I rely on for complicated meals. The footprint is also something you have to respect. It is not a small appliance. If you have been deciding between a traditional microwave like this and an inverter microwave, my experience is that an inverter style can be better for very even reheating at lower power without you babysitting it. With this one, you can get great results, but you have to do your part with stirring and spacing. On the other hand, if you care about strong everyday heating, a roomy interior, excellent defrosting, and the option to mute the beeps, this model has been a good fit for how I actually use a microwave. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment with what you usually use your microwave for and what you want me to test next. Thank you for watching.